Hello, welcome to Trisha's Cards and Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how I've made, or share with you how I've made this little post-it note holder, and it's also got a calendar which you can just tear off and a little mini pen that goes with it, so you've got everything you need to make notes and work out what's happening during your week, month, year. I just thought these would make nice little stocking fillers. They're not that expensive to make. You can make them out of a sheet of 6x6 or part of a sheet of 12x12 and half a sheet of A4, so you can make two out of a sheet of A4 card. You need some white card as well, and the pens you can buy quite cheaply from Amazon. If you wanted to know, just their mini ink joy by Papermate pens. These have got different patterns on the barrels of the pens. That's all I've got left of these this packet at the moment, and I'm going to be doing a different colourway for this one, for the next one that I'm going to make. I just thought they'd be nice, either small gifts or stocking fillers for family and friends. There you go. I'll show you how I made them. This idea was thanks to Heather Forgan of Stamp with Nellie, and she was the one who put it on her YouTube channel, and that's where I've got the idea from. I've just changed the colorways, really. Basically everything else is pretty much the same as hers. You can get these calendar blanks from Amazon or stationers. You probably can get them from places like The Range, but I sent for mine. I found them because these are, most of the ones you get are stitched, but it doesn't make much difference whether they're stitched or not. These are just tear off. They just sort of adhesive at the top, on the top little bit, and then you just tear them off when you're finished with them. But that's the only difference. These post-it notes I found on Amazon, and they're lined, and they're 4x4. Normally the ones you can get are 3x3, but these are 4x4, so they're just a little bit bigger, and they just make it, if you're going to use it as a little notepad, it just makes it great for making lists and things. So it's just the right size. So I'm going to show you how I made these. Right, so all the bits and pieces I need are here. I've cut them all down ready. So I've got a pen, I've got one of the post-it notes, and they're not as thick as if you bought post-it notes. They're not post-it notes, they are another brand, but they're not as thick as you would normally get. But that's fine, because you put in a calendar and things in as well, so that'll bulk it up as well. The papers I'm using are from the Countryside Inn, I think they're called, and they're in the annual catalogue. If I can find them again. Typical one. Here they are. The Countryside Inn, 12x12, and there's lots of lovely blue designs, lots of different pretty animals. There's rabbits, birds, there's foxes, there's other patterns. They're all double-sided, so they've got nice patterns as well on the other side. There's the foxes. Hope you can see them, and the trees and the flowers. They've all got nice patterns as well on the reverse. So I decided with the one I just showed you, this one, I used the same colour, same pattern on both sides, but I thought it would be nice this time if I did it so that I put a different pattern on the inside. So I'm going to use the back of the paper as well. Okay, so I'm going to use the front on the front, and the other side, or the one side on the front and the other on the inside. So I'm going to put that one on there. So what you need is, now I've cut a strip of 3 3/4 inch DSP, and I've cut them into 3 3/4 inch squares, which leaves you with enough to make another one square from the strip of 3 3/4. If you can also, from the white card, you need to cut it 3 7/8 inch squares. So if you cut a 3 7/8 inch strip on the long way, you will get 3 out of those with a small bit left over. So if you're using a piece of A4, you will get 6 out of them, which means you could make 3 of these. And the DSP, it's the cardstock I'm using is Misty Moonlight because it'll go with the papers that I'm using. And I could have used Night of Navy, that would be okay as well. And this is cut in half lengthways, so it's 4 1/8 wide, and then I've cut it to be 9 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so those are all the bits and pieces that I'll be using. So you need 2 pieces of DSP that are 3 3/4 of an inch and a square, and 2 pieces of white card that are 3 7/8 inch squared, and this is cut at 9 3/8 by 4 1/8, and then it's scored at 4 1/8, 4 1/2, and 4 7/8. So I just use my trimmer to do that. So you trim it at 4 1/8, and then 4 1/2, and then 4 7/8. So it's then scored like that. You just then crease it on all of the folds, on all of the score lines. So you can use your bone folder. And then the last one there. Now with this bit, if you look at this, you've got an extra bit here, because when you have the pen slot and you put the pen in, it will then come together like that. So it will be the same size once it's been cut down. I will show you what I mean in a second. So what you need to do is to fold it on the middle crease, which is at 4 1/2 inches, and then you can measure 1 1/2 inches from the top, and I'm going to cut on there at 1 1/2 inches, just to the score line there, and then I'm going to put it at 4, and I'm going to cut it at 3 1/2, so 1 1/2 inches from this side as well, and just to that first score line. So I'm just cutting it to there, so on both of them, so it's just that it's an equal distance from each end. That's all I need. The only other thing you will need is another scrap of white paper, just for the sentiment to go on the front. So this is what you'll be doing. You'll be folding these 2 pieces will go in, and this one will stay out because that's where you're going to put your pen. So that's going to be a little pen slot. So I'll just reinforce that there and those creases there, and we will also put some glue on those 2 tabs because they will be stuck down firm there. Okay, so then you'll find that these 2 pieces will be the same size as each other, as well as this, well, obviously this piece. So these are going to be 4 1/8 inch square, but you've got this little piece on the end so that you can put your pen in. Okay, so I will stick this down, and I'm going to use some, hopefully, Tombow on just these 2 pieces here. So I'm going to stick this down, and I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure this is pressed nice and firmly so that it gets stuck down properly. There we go. So then when you fold this back, this will stay where it's put. Okay, now we're going to add all our decoration. So I'm going to put this pattern on the front. I don't think with this one it matters which way up you put it. I think I might put it that way up, and I'm going to use hopefully some liquid glue to do this, some Tombow, just going to go around the edges, so I don't want it to come off, and then like that. So that one will go with a very small margin around about a 16th of an inch around the edges, because it's just an 1/8 of an inch smaller. The DSP is an 1/8 of an inch smaller square than the white, and then this will fit on the front of the front panel of my holder. So here we go. I'm going to stick this on here. There we go. I think that was it. I'll put that down there like that. So that's going to have an 1/8 of an inch around the outside, hopefully. There we go. That's going there. And then I'm going to do the one on the inside next. So this one here, and I'm going to put it on this side. So I'm going to put the glue on here. If you wanted to use pieces of piece of 6 by 6, what you would do is, when you cut the 3/4 of an inch square, 3 3/4 inch squares, you can use the piece that you cut off on the one end. You would just have that. It would be 3 3/4 inch long. You would just cut that. That one would be the piece that you would fit perhaps in the middle, and then the strip that you've got left over, you cut that to be 3 3/4 of an inch long, because it would be longer than that, because it would be 6 inches long, and you would just cut that into an inch strip each, and then they would slightly overlap that middle piece, but you can then and you could use the opposite side of the paper to do that with. I don't think I've got any like that at the moment, but you can. That's another way of doing it. So, but I've used the 12 by 12, and I just used a strip instead of using it. I could have cut it into 6 by 6 pieces and done it that way, but I decided to do it this way instead, because I think you can just get a little bit more out of it this way. So again, trying to get this central, and I'm going to get my calendar, and I'm going to stick this down. And again, I'm using Tombow to do all of this, because these will be being ripped off, so it's going to give a nice grip on there. So make sure that's nice and flush there, and then I'm going to stick my post-it note there. So I'm going to put lots of glue on the back of this to make sure it stays in place and doesn't get ripped off when you take the pieces off. So it's got plenty of grip. There we go. And we put this on there like that, and it's still got a nice little border around the outside. There we go, because this is 4 inches square, and that's most of my sticking done. So now you'll see that folds there like that. I just want to pop this bit out so that I can put my pen in. There we go. Didn't want to go. There we are. So we can put your pen in that slot there. So all we need to do now is put some decoration on the front, and I've got a scrap of paper here. I'm going to use which one shall I use? Can't see. I'll use the boho blue for this one. This should be interesting. Down the bottom. There we go. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment first, my Just a Note, and the Just a Note comes from the Go-To Greetings. So I'm using, there's lots of different ones there, so you've got nice fancy ones, but I'm using this one here, and I'm also using the heartfelt hexagon border to go around the outside, so it's this one, and I'm using the heartfelt hexagon punch. If I can get it out, there we go. So this is, whoops, this is the boho blue, so I'm going to use that about there. Hopefully this will be okay. There we are. And then I'll use the same colour for the border around the outside. And just want to make sure it's centered and as near as possible. Stamp that out. There we go. There we are. Right, put the ink away before I get it everywhere. Still manage it. And I'm going to use the heartfelt hexagon punch. It's got a bit of different things all over it. And I'm just going to center that in my punch. And I'm going to punch it out. There we go. There for now. Whoops. And then this can then be stuck on there. Now you could put it on dimensionals, but if this was going to go into a bag and it was going to be carried around with somebody, then you wouldn't necessarily want to have anything raised so that it would just be come off. So I haven't got my, I don't know where my seal is, so I'm going to use my Seal Plus. This won't come off then, definitely. And there, just make sure it's got plenty of adhesive on it. And I'm going to put that as near to centre as I can. There we go. So that's there. And then I'll see if I can find some nice, I might put a couple of jewels on if I can find the right colour. Those look nice. Those would be nice on there. And these are the adhesive backed solid gems. I think they're still current, because they're the new colours, so they should be current. So that should, I think that's boho blue, that's lemon lolly and pecan pie or copper clay. I'm not sure which one, but it's one or the other. So these should be still in the current catalogue. I'm not sure. I think it's boho blue. It looks like it anyway. And I'm going to use my pokey tool from at the end of here, and I will put one. Whoops! If I can get it off. Oops! I want it centered. There, and then I'll put a smaller one up here, and it's even smaller one just there. Oh, I don't know that I like that. Hang on, let's see if I can get that off. Nope, that won't come off, but should be, yes, there we go. I'll use a bigger one again over here. There we go, that'll do. That's fine. So there we go, and that's my, those are my I didn't put any extra embellishments on this one, but there's the two different post-it note holders with calendars and pen. So I hope you liked the project today, and if you did, perhaps you could give me a thumbs up, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. I'll be doing a live hopefully on Friday at 6:30, and then again I'll be another video on my YouTube on Sunday. Okay, I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye.